These are recordings that I wrote 6 years ago called How to Heal Your Past. No, 7 strategies to heal your past and live the life of your dreams. I don't need to be so tense, so let's go. Woohoo. And be a little bit quiet because it's already 10 p.m., 10:05, but I do not want to stop. It's so nice to read my old content. But we gotta be mindful of the neighbors. Be the change you want to see in the world. And when I'm getting these violent fantasies of beating up my neighbors when they're too loud. Now, obviously, I would never do this, but we all should be okay with weird things in our minds if we don't just act them out. But man, am I getting pissed. But that's all just a matter of, fighting practice. More fighting practice to channel this aggression. If we want to live the life of our dreams, we need to focus on 2 things. What do we want and how do we get there? This is a highly personal process that only you can do for yourself. Inspiration by looking at role models who have already done what you want to do helps. We also need to understand our why. Mostly, the drive to live a certain life comes from a deep-seated fear. The fear is the initial driving force of our behavior. When this fear becomes transmuted, it takes on a different quality. The driver remains the same, but the inner peace where our behavior is coming from shifts. Don't I sound dramatic? What is holding you back? This is the main focus of my work, helping people to understand it's not about me and how I fucking sound, it's about service, is it not? So authenticity. Helping people to understand why we believe we can't do that. What is getting in the way and resolving that? Strategy number 1, understanding attachment styles. We all as children have developed a certain style of attachment. Attachment means the relation we had to our parents. These attachment styles are determined by 2 things. Number 1, how our parents behaved, and number 2, the beliefs that we form based on how our parents behaved. Firstly, how our parents behaved. Our parents' behavior is determined by their own inner state of being, their fears, and how they behave towards themselves. What can you expect from this ebook? From this video, I guess. The core outcome of my work is to enable us to live the life of our dreams. Big promise, right? But there's a predictable three-step process that when you follow it, give you a bit of patience, you will get to the life of your dreams. The title of this ebook sums up this 3-step process. Number 1, how to heal. Number 2, what prevents you from. 3, living the life of your dreams. And that's such a grand promise, living the life of our dreams, but didn't we all have dreams when we were young? Didn't we all dream to have our life a certain way? And oftentimes, now through social media, the life of our dreams is amplified, but if you really boil it down to, it's really about who do you spend time with, where do you live, and like, what do you do all day for work, right? It's like, that's really that simple. And you want to have the time and the energy so you can do all of the things, but like, honestly, how much effort does it really take to go play golf or go join a tennis club? Might that take like a little month or a substantial monthly fee? It's possible, but if you want to have that $1 million lifestyle, you can have that probably with way less than that. You just need the energy and the creativity to make this happen, and obviously stability and all of the other things that you do. But generally, life of your dreams, because we all live every day. So we get up and at some point we get hungry and at some point we need to defecate, and in between we work and then we spend time with people that we like and we live at the place where we feel at home, and like that's it for all of us, right? So life of your dreams, I know it's a big promise, but that's what I stand for. Now we can spot these 3 steps in the title. Now to work with it, we go through them in the reverse order. First, we need to know what we want. What is actually the life of my dreams that I want to live? Second, we need to see what prevents us from pursuing the life of our dreams. Third, we need to go and heal that which prevents us, so that we are not held back, but rather pulled towards the life of our dreams. So how would you feel if you didn't need to struggle that hard anymore, or if you could just feel that it's actually quite possible because there's a formula that you can follow? I get very excited about doing my work each and every time because I know that when people break through and live the life of their dreams, they become a radiant light to the world. And I mean that. Still today I stand by these words that I wrote. The impact you will have on the world if you're underestimating your influence on other people that you touch with your presence every day, if you are quick to discard that as motivational marketing BS, I'd like to show you something. People look up to someone who seems to embody what they feel that they can't. When they are happy, people look up to you. When they are able to heal and change, people respect you. When you are living the life of your dreams, you become a leader of change in the world. You will touch tens of thousands of people each year just by the way you live your life, and I mean this. You don't know how oftentimes other people sit by dinner and like their wife is talking to them or their husband, they zone out and they're thinking of somebody. That was a weird way of saying that. I don't mean somebody else for like intimate relationships. I mean, somebody had an impression on them. We're like, man, the way this person packed the groceries into their bags in I remember this right now, this very moment. Somebody with a very calm, gentle energy packing his groceries into his bag, and I'm like, that made an impression on me, and I thought about it. So much so that now 6 years later, this example still pops up, creating the life of your dreams as a spiritual path. I see this as a spiritual path, while liberation from suffering is found on the inside, by resolving inner conflicts, creating a life on the outside which matches our deepest desires for serving the world in a major or minor way is necessary to experience joy and elation. Part 1. The foundation. The first big insight, your why. The first step in our 3-step process to living the life of your dreams is to know what you want. Finding this out can take a little time, so simultaneously, I'd like to take you on a discovery of why you want that. You see, everything we do is because of the way it makes us feel. Let's take a common example. Why do we want to be healthy and eat well or hit the gym? Either because we feel good in our own skin and can wear that certain summer dress which makes us happy, or because it increases the chance of meeting a quality partner that we can be happy with, or because we enter suffering and self-doubt of being overweight or terribly skinny and so be less unhappy. There can be thousands of highly personal, unique motivations. The point is, everything comes down to increasing our happiness or decreasing our unhappiness, which is in turn increased happiness. Don't believe just anything I write here. Think this through for yourself. Everything you do or don't do comes down to an increased level of happiness or a decreased level of unhappiness. Tell me if I'm wrong. Now, people often push back. I am a logical person. I make decisions based on rationality, not on emotions or how I feel. But consider that. How do you feel when you make decisions logically? Maybe you feel it's more reliable or safe. Don't you feel at ease and in alignment with your values when you make the decision rationally? Don't you know it's the right way to go about that makes you feel that you are doing it right? When you make decisions logically because you know the metrics matter and this is the likely way to get to the outcome, doesn't that make you feel at ease with what you know is the best to get to the outcome? And then is the question, where do you want the outcome? See, it's all still emotionally. I'm not saying emotionally in the way of like erratic, in the way of like, now I feel this and now I feel that. You're swayed around by the storms of emotions. Not at all. But what I'm saying is that the underlying motivations are still emotional, even if you make decisions rationally. I hope that makes sense, because I don't think there's any way to argue with that. It's just to accept it, because that's kind of the way that life works, that we work. We do things because of emotional reasons. Even making decisions unemotionally and even training ourselves to be unemotional is due to the pain that emotional reactive decision making has caused us. Has it not? Is that not the reason? Right? So the answer is, this is called Okay. See, this is called feeling good about yourself, which can also be summed up under the increased level of happiness or a decreased level of unhappiness. There's no way out. Everything we do is because of the way that it makes us feel. This is the answer to why you want the life of your dreams, to be more happy or less unhappy. Now, since this is true, let's see together what it takes to be happy. And we will also see soon why being happy requires some degree of healing work. Take a break, some fresh air, or keep going. The happiness formula. Happiness or fulfillment to me has two main aspects to it. Number one, the feeling of contentment and inner peace when you don't do anything. Second, the feelings of joy, elation, pride in yourself, and freedom when you do what you love. Number one, the feeling of contentment and inner peace is not an emotion. It is a deeper sentiment that is found underneath the emotions. It gives you the feeling that everything about you is totally fine. You are good the way you are. Accessing the feeling of contentment and inner peace is, in my opinion, the most powerful cure for depression, anxiety, and self-esteem issues, including jealousy. Healing work in the way I practice and teach it will lead to experience these deeper sentiments of contentment and inner peace. The method is to deal with what is overshadowing them so we can sink deeper. I will explain later how do we do that. The feeling of joy, elation, excitement are emotions. They are experienced on the top surface of the deeper level of contentment and inner peace. The feelings of joy can be seen as the dressing of a salad. The dressing consists of raw vegetables, is nurturing the body, and we feel energized during the digestion of the food. We don't need any tasty dressing on it. Yet, the dressing gives it some more beauty, color, richness, and variety of taste. The same is true for the emotions. We are content when we are by ourselves and resting. We feel peaceful inside. But these emotions of joy, elation, sharing your gifts, etc., bring more color, richness, and variety of inner experience to life. Quick recap. We have seen that everything we do is because of the way it makes us feel. We are motivated by increasing our happiness or decreasing our unhappiness. This is the driving force behind all our behavior. So the formula reads contentment plus joy equals happiness. Contentment is the feeling of everything is okay the way that it is. I am okay the way that I am. The second part is more important. The I am okay the way that I am. Now the question comes up. How do those two play together? Without the experience of contentment and inner peace, when we don't do anything, we cling to the emotions of joy and elation. Why? Because humans have a natural pull towards happiness. It is a need for humans. We always find a way to strive for happiness and we use the means that are familiar to us. Now, what is familiar varies. For some people, relief is the feeling that comes closest to happiness, and that's all they know. So they get mad at loved ones, indulge in drugs or alcohol, or do anything to find relief, anything. Because relief is the closest feeling they know to happiness. It's their familiar way of striving for happiness. Our emotions of joy, elation, anticipation, excitement, freedom, etc. also resemble happiness, but they are only one part of the whole. Resemble, man. Vocabulary like jewelry. I'm a rich man of heart and wallet. Resemble. A great word. We seek for happiness only in our emotions because we lack the experience of the deeper sentiment of fulfillment. We miss the mark. Let me show you why this is dangerous. Drug addiction is an extreme example of this behavior that we all start out expressing in life. We all accumulate inner conflicts that are not dealt with in childhood and puberty. These make us unhappy. When we are by ourselves, resting or not doing anything, we feel hints of our accumulated inner conflicts coming up. This leads to negative emotions interpreted as unhappiness. They could be loneliness, stress, inner tension, sadness, anxiety, etc. So we want to not feel those emotions and rather be happy and feel good. Using a drug to do that is just one of many examples how we deal with negative emotions. Other means could be jumping on the phone or flicking on Netflix for distraction, overeating, compulsive exercise, or even walks in nature can be a means to do something against those negative emotions. The point is, when happiness derived from our emotions is all that we know, we are constantly anxious that either the good feelings will go away or that bad feelings will come up. So we either try to make us happy by seeking for these positive emotions, or secondly, try to avoid unhappiness by shutting off negative emotions or distracting us from them. When the deeper sentiment of contentment and inner peace is accessed, we get to experience that emotions are fluent in passing. Sometimes I feel good, sometimes I feel bad, but after all, when the emotions have run their natural course and subside, I return to my inner home. Subside is also a great word. Vocabulary like jewelry. I am a rich man with a rich vocabulary. Vocabulary like jewelry. Let's go. How do I know apply this to my life to become truly happy and fulfilled? How do we access these deeper sentiments of contentment and inner peace? This feeling of contentment and inner peace is our natural state. It's a universal human experience. When we let go of everything that goes on mentally and emotionally, we drop into this deeper sentiment of contentment and inner peace. The deeper sentiment is always there. Just layers of emotions, thought, and body sensations prevent most people from experiencing this depth of their being on a regular basis. What do we need to deal with in order to sink deeper? Thought movements, body sensations, bodily imbalances, emotions in the different layers and nuances, and fundamental inner conflicts. Video library, the goal of my work. The art and science of happiness. Happiness through healing work. Healing work, the road to happiness. Healing work, what does that mean? How do I heal? The framework for healing work. 3 layers of my work. Helping people become leaders of change in the world. 2 aspects. Joy plus contentment. Contentment is found through healing and joy through living the life of your dreams. Healing is the dissolution of an unhealthy means to get back into balance, guided by grace amplified by faith. Yahoo! Very nice piece of content here. They are different. Solving your everyday problems through healing work. Racing thoughts, negative thoughts. Thoughts, if I followed, lead to emotions. Thoughts, if followed, lead to emotions. When these emotions are felt, a resolution happens. Jealousy, fear of loss, low energy, no motivation, purposelessness. Energy is drained by inner conflicts. We have little of activities that give us energy, but plenty of activity that drain our energy. Recurring patterns, access unfelt emotions, release in the moment. Recurring patterns, access unfelt emotions, release in the moment. Feeling about yourself, stress, tension, anxiety, emotions. Anger, sadness, guilt, grief, frustration, despair, Verzweiflung, meaninglessness, pain, shame, and fear. Identifying and overcoming inner conflicts. Symptoms: low energy, no motivation, depression, anger towards yourself and others. When we experience inner conflicts, there are multiple roots. That means causes and multiple symptoms that we can see as branches of a tree. But there is only one trunk, meaning one underlying cause. Nonetheless, we need to identify the highly personal symptoms and causes so that the desire to resolve the underlying cause is deemed meaningful and the healing process is charged with emotional energy. The fortunate and unfortunate thing about humans is that we are incredibly able to adapt to situations and endure suffering. This leads us to push through challenging times. In ancient tribal societies, so our ancestors made it and we are blessed to be here now. But the same capacity to adapt to difficult situations leads also to the capacity of humans to endure self-imposed suffering. We can survive with that, but we won't thrive that way. You and I know examples, very likely in our own close family even, who live like that. You have the chance now to change that. So let's take this work seriously. Let's start with identifying some of the symptoms so we can see how the tree of life grows in the case of inner conflicts. Symptoms: low energy and depression. Inner conflicts bind energy. On the other hand, the resolution of those conflicts liberates energy. When we think about symptoms like depression and low energy, it is easy to see that there is something that is draining our energy. We all had days where we did a lot and we love, where we did a lot that we love, and at the end of the day we feel tired but not drained. That means that our bodies need rest, but emotionally we are replenished. Yes, exactly. Great piece of content. Great piece of content. Amazing. When there are inner conflicts that eat up our energy, we feel the reverse. At the end of the day, we have done next to nothing that is meaningful to us. We feel we have a hard time falling asleep because our body is well rested, but emotionally we feel drained and can't get ourselves to do anything. So we lay around and likely indulge in thought patterns. Or we develop unhealthy habits to deal with the excess of bodily energy. That leads us to the next set of symptoms. Addictive tendencies. All addictive behaviors, number one, are unhealthy means to get our system back into balance. Second, can be traced back to an inner conflict. That applies to gambling, drinking, drug addiction, food addiction, and emotional addictions like arguments, self-harming behavior, or guilt. For now, we leave the inner conflict part. Let's start exploring how they can be possibly bringing us back into balance, shall we? Okay, so they are formed with a good intent, but they have bad consequences. Let's look at the example from nature to illustrate that point. Great piece of content. We build dams in rivers to generate energy. We interfere with the natural tendency of the water to flow its way. Now, when the dam breaks due to the build-up of water pressure, it's a havoc to the entire ecosystem, but the water can flow again. Balance has been restored. So it is to the benefit of the natural tendency of a nature that a crack develops in the dam so that it finally breaks. We behave much in the same way. Inner conflicts hold us back from our natural tendencies to do what we love in life. So we stay put, just as the water in the dam, but the tendency is still there. Addictive behaviors can be seen as the crack in the dam. They allow our energy to flow again. This leads to havoc to the entire ecosystem called our body, but at least we have some outlet of energy. This is what it comes down to. All addictive tendencies help us in unhealthy ways to give an outlet to access repressed energy and fill up with some emotions that we don't allow ourselves to feel. Here's an example from my own life, and I invite you to see how you can spot these principles in your own addictive behaviors, alright? I used to struggle with food addiction. It was quite bad, truly. I would work all day for 3 to 4 days and then break down and spend 2 to 3 days doing nothing but walking the streets from bakery shop to bakery shop, stuffing myself with cake and other stuff. Feeling no control over it whatsoever, with all the guilt, shame, and self-doubt that came with it. Let's look at what happened. We said that all addictive behaviors, number one, are unhealthy means to get our system back into balance. And second, that they can be tracked back to an inner conflict. Can you see the inner conflict here? Well, to be fair, you need a little more background to fully understand the dynamic. So here we go. I did not do what I love at this time. What I love is working with people and being around people. At the time, I spent all day by myself, working on online projects, not seeing anyone apart from the postman who delivered new books. Meaning, there was an inner conflict that gave rise to a buildup of energy. Namely, I wanted to spend time with people, but I believed I needed to be by myself and work. So, as it can be expected, the dam broke at some point. And because I didn't quite learn the lesson soon, the dam broke every week. Now, let's take a little break and maybe some fresh air. We have seen so far how every addictive behavior is a symptom of a pattern that knocks us off balance, right? If I had followed my natural tendency to be with people, which keeps me healthy, happy, and in balance, there would not be the need to do this unhealthy means to bring ourselves back into balance. And the addictive behavior serves as an unhealthy means to give an outlet to access repressed energy, fill us up with some emotions that we don't allow ourselves to feel. The fear of failure and fear of the unknown prevent resolving those inner conflicts. Symptoms: lack of motivation or purpose, boredom. Inner conflicts also lead to unaliveness. When we feel unalive, it means we are not in touch with our emotions. Now, what has an inner conflict to do with our emotions? Feeling bad about ourselves and our behavior is not what I mean. When a conflict is not resolved, it is because failure to make an effort to gain clarity about the conflict and the two or more conflicting options. Second, in the healing process of inner conflicts, we need to face our bodily and emotional sensations of excitement in a novel situation. Great.